circus still had elephants.
Where once upon a time, there was one chubby elephant named Ernie.
Ernie had a sweet tooth. He loved candy. When children came to the circus, Ernie saw them eating licorice and caramels, and his most favorite of all, jelly beans. Of course, the children weren't allowed to feed the animals, but sometimes Pedro the human cannonball would share his candies with Ernie. Now, Ernie was a very big elephant with a very big appetite. The little candies Pedro shared with Ernie were very tasty, but also very small. One day, on their way back from the show, Pedro invited Ernie inside the tantalizing Trapeze Stars circus wagon. And what did he see inside? There on the table was a great big giant jelly bean. It was absolutely huge. It was a ginormous elephant-sized jelly bean, and it looked so good. Excuse me, Pedro asked Ernie, but would you mind terribly if I helped myself to a jelly bean? Pedro said, it's pretty close to dinner time, Ernie. Oh, but I guess it would be all right if you had just one. One jelly bean was all Ernie wanted. He reached out his long trunk and grabbed a really big giant jelly bean and stuffed it in his mouth. Mmm! It was delicious. Suddenly Ernie stopped. He heard a noise. At first it was just a bumbling kind of noise, and then it became a tumbling sort of sound, and then it became a rumbling sound, and the sound was coming from inside Ernie. Ernie held his tummy and tried to keep it quiet, but there was nothing he could do to stop the noise from deep inside. Ernie, asked Pedro, is that you making all that noise? Ernie explained, you said I could have just one jelly bean, so I did. But I guess I made a pig of myself. I ate the one really big giant jelly bean. Sorry. Oh, Ernie, said Pedro, that was no ordinary jelly bean. That was a giant jumping jelly bean. But before Pedro could say or do another thing, Ernie jumped. He jumped higher than the lion's cage, higher than he had ever jumped before. And when he landed, Ernie jumped again, and again, and again, until finally he went up even higher than the high wire. Ernie had become a giant jumping elephant bean. Ernie was terribly embarrassed. He wanted to apologize for taking Pedro's jelly bean, but every time he opened his mouth, the rumbling would start again, and Ernie would find himself jumping around the circus, higher and higher than any elephant had ever jumped before. Said the ringmaster. Aha, said Pedro. Oh dear, said Ernie. That night, under the big top, Ernie made his circus debut, presenting the fantabulistic leaping phenomenon, Ernie the Elephant. Ernie had become a circus star. Every time Ernie jumped, he landed very gracefully, for an elephant, that is. Thump, bump! And every time Ernie jumped, the audience would take pictures. Jump, flash, thump, bump! Jump, flash, thump, bump! And everyone would clap their hands and shout, jump, Ernie, jump! So whenever you see lightning, flash! And whenever you hear thunder, thump, bump! Always remember to clap your hands